All right, welcome to your natal chart reading. I have your chart in the back, but if I can I don't know. I'll still probably switch to present mode, but this is the best I could do. I try to get it to where it could be on like the right or the left side, but I don't know. I guess I can like duck. But anyways, yeah. So very interesting chart. We'll just have this here. And maybe I'll move it off if I think it's annoying or weird. But basically, we have Pisces rising with Venus in the first house, and we also have a Sun in Aries and a Moon in Scorpio. So how does this combination play itself out? Well, basically, you're double Mars ruled, right? So Mars, the planet of action, right? Your Sun and your Moon, which you can think of as like a yin yang of your personality. The masculine part is in a very strong Aries sign in the second house. And then the feminine part is in a very feminine, Scorpio, I wouldn't say very feminine, but it's a water sign, so it's a feminine sign, and it's in the ninth house. So then in the Pisces rising is it's like a nice little it's a nice little complement to the Moon in Scorpio, and I believe that you have a conjunction. You do have a conjunction with Fomalhaut, your Venus, and let's see how close it is. 343 and 459. So one of the four royal stars within a degree, like a little bit more than a degree. So yeah, it's still gonna definitely have a role, and that can make for unbelievable intuition, and it creates like amazing artists. So that's something I noticed right off the bat. But yeah, so basically with a Aries sun, right? I don't usually go too far into sun signs. It's kind of obvious stuff. But I think that the way that it works well with Scorpio is the moon sign, is that the sun in Aries gives someone a lot of assertiveness, this natural ability to be like a leader and a warrior, a physical leader and a physical warrior, right? Now, when you have the moon in Scorpio, that leadership, that warriorship is taken to a psychological level, an emotional, energetic, esoteric level. So being someone, having a Scorpio moon and then having the ascendant in Pisces, it's a very, both are water signs, right? So there's a smooth link. And what that creates is an energy where you are, like, the way you come off, your personality, is very reflective, like there's a smooth link between that and your inner emotions, your inner kind of your instinctual self, your feminine self, your what it takes to kind of make you happy, your internal environment that you live in. So that's very, very important, because what that tends to create, for people that meet you and people in your life and relationships and just you as a human, you are what you get. Like you wear your emotions on your sleeves. So even though there's a quincunx, elemental quincunx, meaning between Scorpio and Aries, meaning that there's not much, like a quincunx are 5 signs away, so there's not much in common. The way that these two your sun and your moon sign bond is that they're both ruled by Mars. And I don't think this background is doing that much good. One day I'll figure out how to have it just in the top corner, but let's just go with the none. See my blue lights. So, and then I can just like go to like actual share screen mode, which one day I'll figure out how to have. It's probably not impossible unless you're doing a PowerPoint, which I guess I could. I could just have a PowerPoint with only the chart. I'll figure it out one day. One day someone will help me and will tell me how to have a Zoom where I can show my face in a little bubble, then show the birth chart. But anyways, without too much work, obviously, because I don't want to like have to edit it. So yeah, so Aries, second house, Scorpio, ninth house. So basically, like, you know, it creates a very intense, very physically and very energetically intense human being. Someone that you don't really want to mess with on many levels, because the Scorpio moon, we all know about how it, you know, it has to step away from like taking things too personally, and seeking revenge, being vindicative, and using this like massive emotional power that it has for bad, and instead using it for good. Because when you have this energy, you know, it can be very intimidating for other people. It's like at its lowest, it's like bully energy. At its highest, it's just massive like aura and an ability to be an incredible leader. Massive leadership potential with this, right? But then we also look at the moon. We say, do I see any really difficult aspects besides this, the opposition with Mercury? No. Sun square Chiron though, so that's a difficult one. And moon opposite Pluto, Venus, nothing difficult. Mars, nothing difficult. So yeah, basically like your chart, you know, you're born, wow, only like less than a month after me. So you've gone through your Saturn return, so you're probably starting to really grow into yourself at this point, right? Because having the square of Sun and Saturn, you know, that can create all kinds of issues around self-confidence, around like, imagine that there's like this Aries is like this just volcanic potential of power, right? This like this person who's fearless, who just thinks and just goes, right? You know how some people, they can be very lazy and they can be very like they can just kind of let life happen to them. That's not you at all. You're someone who is a and you're like in sports, you'd be like a playmaker. I don't know. Someone that makes things happen. But because of the square, right, which is a 90-degree angle between Sun and Saturn, this is very karmic. It could relate to issues with the father, but really what it does is the Sun, it's like the Sun, it wants to shine, right? And Saturn is a planet of karmic restrictions. And until your Saturn return at 29 and a half, 30 years of age, which you know passed, you can feel like there's lots of restrictions in regards to the full manifestation of your sun sign. So being that your sun sign is Aries, it could show itself in ways where, for example, you read horoscopes about how Aries are so powerful and they're just like the sign that just goes without thinking and nothing holds them back, but you're like, damn, like I feel so held back. So it's important to look at like your childhood and to look at your early influences. And you know, I always talk about the two parents when I do these readings, right? And I talk about how like if you had to write a paragraph about your mother and your father's biggest like what they brought to you, right? Like what like their lessons, like that they've consciously or unconsciously embedded in you. When you have the sun and the moon that usually represents the mother and the sun that usually represents the father at odds, they're not like square and opposite. So this might not like be extreme, but there will be some difference, some pretty sizable difference potentially. So what that can do when we talk about the square, right? And actually, is it a T-square? I mean, one could call it a T-square, even though it's not an elemental one. for the moon, that would be more over here in Libra. It still is a T-square, right? I mean, it's, yeah, it's a T-square because you have, wait, hold up 1 sec. Am I tripping? It's kind of a loose one, but the sun and the moon, you would have a larger orb, so it'd be 21. So it's like an 11 degrees. So it's like a loose T-square. Which is when the sun, because the sun and the moon are opposite. I can show you here. Oh, I'm still sharing. Jesus, okay. I didn't realize that. So the sun, the sun and the moon, sun down here opposite the moon, and then Saturn is square, definitely square the sun, but it's a loose square with the moon. It's 8 degrees off, but it still counts. I don't know why it's not showing here. I guess the orbs are set differently, but basically it shoots out into Cancer at 24 Cancer, so into the 5th house. So that to me is a huge indicator that when you learn to take a creative risk on yourself, whatever that may be, right? When you learn to really let go, and to stop trusting this potential, I don't want to call it a negative voice in the back of your head, but like this restrictive force, right? You know, in some people's lives, it shows up as like a teacher that told them they couldn't do it, they couldn't amount to shit, or maybe it's an unconscious, you know, for very sensitive people like yourself with the Scorpio Moon, maybe it's like an unconscious energy that was never even verbalized from one of the parents, but just never positively verbalized, like not like trauma, or you know, anything like this. It tends to affect people differently, right? So two people can experience the exact same thing, but one person's traumatized, the other, like siblings, and the other person isn't. So the way to really get past this kind of difficulty, this, you know, this you could even call it emotional restriction, self-esteem issues, just feeling like you always have, and like I said, it automatically gets better. So it's already gotten better for you already in the last few years for sure. But it's through finding that creative outlet. That's like how you really jumpstart it, right? And when you see your 12th house Mars, I'm going back to my face. When you see the 12th house Mars, that's like another indicator with your North Node there, right? In the 12th house in Aquarius, that's another indicator that your life purpose is really centered around service and around humanitarianism and about being your own person. So yeah, when I'm looking at your chart, I'm like, I have this instinct of like what a like really difficult, complex chart is, and like what one that like that isn't that complex. I mean, I see you only have one retrograde planet. You have like me, we both only have Pluto retrograde, and you don't have like any like crazy. So whenever I see like so many aspects, you know, like that. So there's a few, but whenever I see this, I think, okay. And I look at the nodes, I see that there's a square with Mercury in the nodes and a square with Pluto in the nodes, which, wow, okay. I also have the square with Pluto in the nodes. So I want to talk about that. Also, I want to make sure I emphasize that, the importance of that. And maybe even, you could even say that it's 12 degrees. So maybe even the moon and Pluto, because the moon, you know, I'd say maybe 12 degrees is a bit much, but anyways, basically like being of service like is extremely important for you, and it can really bypass like any like kind of karmic cycles that are like negative, I guess you could call them, can be bypassed so easily by, especially with any patterns of self-undoing shown by Mars in the 12th house, right? When you're just selflessly of service to humanity, doesn't mean quitting your day job, and it doesn't mean quitting your day job or whatever you do for a living and just doing charity stuff, or just doing charity stuff nonstop. It's not like that. But yeah, it is really about in some way having this humanitarian kind of way you see the world, where you start to shift from me to we, in your way of thinking. And yeah, so coming a little back towards what I was initially speaking about, and don't worry, I'll wrap back around. I feel like being more freeform today. I feel like some of my readings lately, which I love them, they all have their own energy, but I feel like being a little bit more like shifty. But yeah, coming back to kind of like the moon, the sun, I mean, like, it's just dynamic, right? So like, you really like have to have a creative outlet. You have when I say sexual energy, I mean that life force, that prana. You have a ton of it. But there could have been like real frustrations growing up because Scorpio Moon people, they really like little things piss them off, and they sometimes like drama, right? So like when I see a chart like this, I think that like they probably were like definitely like when they're like growing up in school, not the people who just like people notice them, and maybe because of that there's jealousy or drama or different things that lead to these like transformations. And Scorpio Moon is all about going through, like, it's like the karma pushes you to go through these really intense death of some part of your emotional self that leads to, through tough times, that leads to a rebirth of sorts, like Phoenix rising from the ashes. And then you look back on how you used to be, and it's like a complete transformation. That's Scorpio Moon at its best, right? It's maturing, and it's using spirituality. It's using, symbolic forms of power like astrology, like psychology, whatever you can figure out about your own shadow that helps you get, understand yourself better is really, really, and anything that's unseen, right? So you have like this natural gift of like, really, really being curious of the mysteries of life, the things that a lot of people are afraid of, whether it's death, you just have this sixth sense, right? And the Pisces ascendant makes that even more obvious, right? So props to you on that. I have a lot to say with this chart. So, okay, I need to make sure I'm trying not to have my readings be like 2 hours, even though people like that. It's a lot. So obviously a moon opposite Mercury. I guess I can talk about that when we go to Mercury. Yeah, so you have a really beautifully, so you have a Scorpio moon, but I sense extreme light from you. And by the way, I don't look at any photos of you. I literally have, I think I've maybe seen a photo of your face. I try to forget everything. Like, I don't know. But like, I sense like, even though you have a Scorpio moon, because it has a beautiful, beautiful trine from Venus and a wonderful trine from Jupiter, the two benefic planets, and they're only 2 and 1 degree away from a complete 120-degree trine. You have what's called a grand trine with your moon, Venus, and Jupiter. If you could understand how amazing, and it's a very tight grand trine, how gifted, how much of a gift from God that is. Like, I've never seen this before. I'm not being dramatic, I'm being honest. It's your moon's at 2 degrees. Like, I'm gonna show you this. Like, this is so crazy. Because basically having a Scorpio moon is fucking hard. If you've seen my ratings, what the fuck's happening? If you've seen my ratings of most easy to least easy moon signs, which maybe I'll do a re-release of that soon. I had Scorpio and Capricorn moons, the 2 most difficult. But in your case, you have, look, Scorpio, 2 degrees in the water sign of 2 degrees Scorpio. Then look at that trine, Jupiter right here, 3 degrees Cancer. And then look at Pisces on Fomalhaut, which is one of the luckiest stars in all of astrology, because incredible artistic talent. Like, I'm talking like generational artistic talent. Now, you don't have an exact conjunction, but it's still very, very close. You know how I talk in my videos and stuff about how I have Regulus rising. I even have a tattoo of it. Like, that makes me really, really Leo, right? Because it's the brightest star of Leo. That's one of the 4 royal stars of Persia. If you're interested in learning more, I have a video on my YouTube called the 4 royal stars of Persia. It's one of the very few videos of mine that has actually done okay on YouTube. But yeah, so you see that how it's like 4, 3, 2. It's a very tight grand trine. Grand trine has to do with amazing talent. So when you have the two lucky the planet of luck and of optimism, perspective, Jupiter trining your moon, it gives you those things emotionally. So you're very aware, you're very philosophical. So you become kind of like a Scorpio / Sag moon, right? And the fact that it's in the 9th house of Sagittarius makes your moon even more saggy, right? Like very philosophical, very much about understanding higher truth, higher wisdom. Now, when we have Venus, Fomalhaut trining it, that is even more. If Jupiter is about luck, Venus is about beauty and the fine things in life. It's the feminine. It smoothens everything out. So all that intense energy of the Scorpio moon, this is like, you have such an amazing opportunity this lifetime to do this. Like I thought of like shadow work, but in the context of like flowers, like flowery shadow work, like where you're able to see and have amazing perspective and insights and not be so like in it, you know? It's a really, really great, you know, really, really, really great grand trine. Wow, that's crazy. So yeah, so Scorpio moon, like and also like, you know, the Venus being in Pisces, it channels this like amazing inspiration and imagination, and ability to like it just super creative. So like you have this amazing inner life where there is the shadow, there is the darkness, but like it's so, there's like so many like flowers and flashlights and all this stuff that helps you become like an occult master, perhaps, right? Now, when we talk about creative, like how there's a big need in this chart for a creative outlet, well, guess what? Your Jupiter, the planet of luck that I was just talking about, is in the house of creativity and of fun. So when you can have an emotional, because Cancer rules it, right? When you can have an emotional connection to your whatever that, and you, I would be so surprised. I mean, I do chart readings every day, right? And usually when I say this, like, and I have the follow up, and you have to remind me about this too, right? Because like I forget everything I say. It's kind of weird then, like I say, like when I'm doing readings, like I'm saying this, I forget everything I say, and then like I've heard people tell me that I'm like channeling, but like I feel like I'm just talking. I don't know, it's weird. But I literally don't remember anything, and it's not just because I do a lot of them. It's just like I just don't remember shit until we have the follow up and I see the chart, and things come back to me. But remind me about this. But anyways, this is such a great energy. But when you have Cancer ruling your 5th house, and your Cancer being ruled by the moon, which is the 9th house, there has to be some like emotional connection to what you're creating, right? Also, this is big for mothering, like how this is saying that you can be like such a healer and have such an expansion and benefit so much from giving birth, from being a mother, and that you have a very good relationship with your kids, although there is Chiron there too, so there can also be some karmic healing. But because Chiron is also let's see here, actually, one second. Yeah, so Chiron's, it's still trining the moon, it's 9 degrees. That same kind of effect, right? And in conjunct Jupiter, it's going to be a karmic healing that still has that light, that perspective, where you can really teach your kids, if you have kids or if you want to have them, and maybe not train them, but really like be their light and be someone that just inspires them and like teaches them so much. I don't always bring up, by the way, I don't always bring up kids in readings. I just bring up what comes to me. And this is like, Cancer is the mother. So 5th house also, aside from mother energy, it's also about create like through your whatever your creative outlet is. Like I said, I'd be so surprised if you don't have one. Music, painting, whatever it might be. there'll be like a real emotional component to it. Real feminine, real moon flow. So that's beautiful. I do really like that. And then also the 5th house, Chiron, means that you can heal potential emotional wounds that you might have with your family of origin through that same 5th house. And remember, the 5th house is where that T square shoots out. So a T square is like a bow and arrow. It's when your sun and your moon are opposite, and then Saturn's squaring both, and Saturn's here, and boom, it shoots out. So we look at what the opposite part of the chart is, where Saturn is, and it's still in the 5th house. So this 5th house, whether it's motherhood, whether it's creativity, this is where you really, really get to know yourself. So speaking of knowing yourself, what makes it hard for someone to know themselves? Pisces rising. Even though it's so creative, even though it's so like, one second, actually, hold up, one sec. Okay. Hold on. Hold on. Okay. So, yeah, I just think that this 5th house is where all can be found. So when we think about your 5th house is Leo, right? It's authentic self-expression. So I always have to emphasize this fact that, and there's a lot with the 9th house too. So your fire houses are really, really crap. Like there's a lot going on in your house 1, 5, and 9, the fire houses. So those are arenas of life that are really going to be very important. But as I'm saying, combining this two, it's like inner child stuff, like being like inner child, like being able to act as a kid, and of course, like, you know, being a mother helps that a lot. But like also, it's authentic self-expression. I've you know, as an astrologer, so I guess a lot of people have careers where they have to repeat things a lot, and they're like, "Fuck, I've said this like 1,000 times in my life." But like, it's about not doing it for the views, right? Not doing it for the external validation. It's that authentic self-expression where you go within and you, for example, create the book of poetry that you don't even have to show anyone, but it's about your growth and you doing it for you. And that is like the essence of this, right? Getting to know your own emotions, Cancer, through that whatever creative process it is. And it has to, it should feel fun. It should feel fun. So, okay, moving on. So as I was talking about Pisces rising, so Pisces risings are like chameleons, right? So it gives you a chameleon energy. But sometimes Pisces rising, especially when young, can have issues like with who they are. When you have the square of Saturn, your sun, that can, you know, definitely talk about like self-esteem issues potentially, and you know, just kind of difficulty, like you're taking one step further and then you get 2 steps back, and it just makes it hard to really move, like open up that Aries energy, that fire, that like Apollo energy, right? So the Pisces rising people can benefit from being able to you know, chameleonize and really just they make great actors. They're people who can like hang out with this group, with this part, you know, and traveling also is a big part of your chart, you know, like traveling physically, traveling metaphorically, right? Because you do have the moon in the 9th house. So there is an emotional need for foreign cultures. Pluto's there too, which emphasizes that even more. So that would actually be some, you know, a way that you can really, you know, the Pisces ascendant helps you a lot in that. But also Pisces ascendant, right? So it's chameleon energy, but also there's energy of you can get really easily projected on by other people. I think it was Marilyn Monroe who had this, who said that like all the men that she was with, they never saw her for her. They always saw her for what they wanted to see her as. And that's kind of like, you know, the perfect explanation of this Pisces rising, right? And you have it 15 degrees, which is the royal degree. So it's a very, very strong and very regal energy to have. Let's see, what else? And so yeah, Pisces risings, they'll typically like wait, you know, even though you're Aries, they'll typically like kind of, you know, they're very versatile. They'll kind of like look around. Usually they won't be like just like boom, like assertive, like they'll want to feel more comfortable before making their move and pursuing their purpose. Like depending on other people to take the initiative. Of course, being an Aries sun will push that way, but also being a Scorpio moon makes you a plotter, makes you a planner, someone that's like looking and playing chess with, you know, with life. But yeah, Pisces is mutable, so it makes one very versatile, flexible, just go with the flow energy, right? But also like you have to watch out for Pisces with like like having lack of boundaries. And sometimes Pisces rising, especially when they're young, they can like almost like forget who they are and act like they're like a famous person or a friend that they look up to, and what unconsciously just start to like act like them, right? Also, they can be very romantic, very misunderstood as well, sentimental, imaginative, and like it's super, super sensitive to other people's energies, and you feel that physically, right? And there can be like psychic. It's actually Aries and Pisces rising are the two most rare rising signs, by the way. So yeah, there can be like very good psychic, mediumistic gifts. Super able to sympathize a lot with other people, and yeah, like you can have a lot like a big part of your life can be like emotional healing wounds. And yeah, so the fact that that's there, it makes your chart ruled by Neptune, which is in the 11th house. Which are you in my group? If you're not in my group, you need to message me. It's a private invite only thing, but I don't really talk about it. But you might be in it already. 1 second, let me look. Hold on. Let me see if I can find you. Here you are. I don't want to look at your picture. I don't want to cheat. I don't want to cheat. I don't want to cheat. Okay. All right, I already cheated. I saw you're an acupuncturist, a naturopath, holistic therapist, whatever. But are you Gabrielle? Okay, let's see. Are you in causes? I've invited a lot of people. Okay, let's see. Followers. I think you are. No, you're not. Damn. Yeah. So maybe shoot me a message. And we can talk about that, because you know, with your 11th house, your chart ruler Neptune and then Uranus are conjunct in 11th house with Saturn there too. That's just speaking about how, you know, that area of life is really important too, to find groups of people, organizations, friend groups, your tribes. Your tribe per se is like the word a lot of people use, with common goals that are very spiritual, very humanitarian, which relates completely to your North Node in the 12th house, right? Conjunct Mars in Aquarius. So that's gonna like being parts of like, you know, very like empathetic humanitarian groups can really help you move towards your, I guess you could say, like life purpose. It's like an energy, yeah. If you want to really like branch out and in that type of way. 1 second. So yeah, so besides that, let's see, sun, we talked about that. So in terms of your sun, your sun usually represents your father. I see the trine with the node, so that could indicate like a very or whoever your more dominant parent is, that could indicate like a very positive karmic relationship with usually your father, but whoever that represents the sun in your chart, the more dominant parent. And yeah, it also says that like your highest manifestation, it's just basically like kind of like saying like you're really meant to get past and to really like be at the highest, like meet the highest energy of Aries, right? Which is being this leader, being this fearless warrior that also like is independent and goes after what they want in life. But okay, so now back to the point that the sun's house is in the second, right? So that's the house of Taurus. So that's going to make it so self-worth is very, very important. It's actually very, very good for self-esteem and self-worth, and it makes one, it makes it really, really important to have like values. So it's a house of having a set of values that you can kind of judge your own life and make decisions based off of, and it's very important for you to have those. Also, you have to make sure that you don't become overly critical when either you or others fail to live up to your big, I don't want to say big expectations, but expectations you have. Second house suns, it's they typically love luxury and possessions and stuff. So they can be very, very big go-getters in terms of like, just liking the nicer things in life, and it's not necessarily materialistic, but also second house, it's Taurus, so it's like it's very like somatic and very engaged with the body, and things like yoga are very, very good. And the key is to not to find these internal sets of values, these internal kind of groundness, so where you like people who have this sometimes seek it too much externally. And it's about like being able to find that within yourself. So valuing yourself no matter what your external circumstances are, making yourself that rock. And then Moon in the 9th house, I kind of spoke about that before. It's there's emotional need in this life to it makes one very idealistic and very philosophical, and it makes them have an emotional need to travel, and whether that's traveling to different countries and different cultures, and it makes you very expansive and have an emotional need to expand your worldview, and kind of like escaping everyday life. It makes you really, really seek more and really want to try on new different things, right? And really enjoying like the freedom of being able to like escape responsibilities and merge with other cultures. And even you might Moon there, you might be someone who like wants to reside in another country, and the fact that you have Pluto there, which is super important, that is a very interesting Pluto placement. And basically what it means is that you might feel, so you're from the UK, right? So you might feel, I forget, you told me you're from somewhere else, I think. So this might be really interesting. 9th house Pluto people, they tend to feel very like they have lots of past life memories of being in like different cultures, and they feel like kind of like unrooted, or like almost like some people just like don't really, like me. I don't have this placement, but like I never really felt like American, I never really like clicked with me. Maybe for like a little bit of my life when I was really young, but like when I became an adult, I realized I don't really like, it's not that I don't like America, it's just that I don't want to live there. And yeah, so for you, it could be something similar where you might feel like a little bit like of a disattachment to your country of origin. But really also the Pluto 9th house gives you this extremely powerful drive, kind of with the Moon, where they're working together to discover the higher meaning of life, right? But also you have to be aware of becoming like really dogmatic in regards to your personal philosophies, and there can be like obsession with finding these and with traveling and things of that nature. but really you're trying to find that ultimate high spiritual truths, those high spiritual truths. So love life, you know, Venus in Pisces is like you got to watch out for, you know, the rose colored glasses in love. The individual who sees the potential as opposed to the reality of the person, who's willing to like let everything go. That's kind of, but overall Venus in Pisces is one of the, you know, best Venus placements. It's super romantic. It makes someone really like want to, they just have to watch out for like attracting people who like take advantage of that, but it's just like a very like lover energy, right? I don't know, I don't do tarot, but I thought the tarot card, the lovers, I don't know if that has any correlation. If you do tarot, I don't, but it just came to my mind. So why is this popping up on my screen? Okay, so yeah, so that's kind of that, like Venus and Pisces. They want to merge with their partner, being like it's they have a, also just like it's very creative, very inspirational. They can get really inspired by arts and things of that nature, and yeah, they really want to merge and be one with their partner. You know, that's like the big thing. So, and also they want, you know, they definitely want to like explore spirituality and the arts and anything like that with you know, in their romantic relationships, like inspirational activities like music, going to art galleries, things like that. And, you know, Venus in the first house gives you a strong ability to express beauty and love. You're able to really express it, right? So it's another potential artist thing. And also it makes you very attractive to other people. Venus in the first house gives this beautiful like energy where, you know, usually your first, it rules the body. So it's very good. Speaking of Venus, she also has a Pisces rising. She has Neptune on it, ascendant. You see how cute she is. So yeah, also it gives one like a very calm and harmonious kind of demeanor that really is attractive to people. So yeah, so with that, you'll want romance, you'll want kind of that deep love. But then the Mars is very different because your Mars is in Aquarius in the 12th house. And that's the house of self-undoing. So here you have to watch out for being your worst enemy with actions that are like sabotaging. Like this is a theme for someone with a Mars in the 12th house. And Mars in Aquarius, you know, it means that you really want a lover who you can have a very high intellectual, eccentric and intellectual relationship, like, or connection with. But there can be this tendency, this real push and pull in relationships where the Pisces Venus part of you and the Scorpio Moon part of you wants to get really close and really get close. But then the Mars in Aquarius and the Sun in Aries is more about the self, more about pulling away. And if you just have it with Venus in Mars, the Mars is more aloof, more distant, more, you know, this and that. You know, basically like Aquarius is like the most like aloof sign, and Pisces is probably the most close with Scorpio, like the most like close, you know, two souls becoming one sign. So it's like there's definitely this push and pull. I'm definitely curious to hear more about that in the follow-up of how that plays out. So then, you know, obviously Venus trine Jupiter, as I said before, that's going to give you lots of luck when it comes to meeting the right partners, which is amazing. And it's going to give you like amazing artistic talents and great, like just so much popularity. Like you're going to be very well liked by people. That's 100%. And then the fact that Venus is trining Chiron is it's gonna have that same effect on your healing and make you like be able to be a very strong and positive, optimistic healer for not just your kids, but also for whoever you decide to you know, you can really be someone who's like a creative. And I know I just saw your bio, so I know you're a healer already, but that's just like further. I said that before, seeing that. And the fact that it's on Fomalhaut is just like, let's see if I can find something about that. Hold up. So yeah, like having Venus in Pisces on Fomalhaut is just like, that's amazing. I mean, it's just like, it's gonna really make one bring lots of like power and spirituality to you, and make you really like love that. Let's see if I can find anything about this. Yeah, just very onerous. And this, you see, I'm still waiting on this book that really speaks about all these stars more, but it says secret and passionate love affairs, some restriction in life, disappointments, easy led astray. But like, it doesn't say like the real energy of having it. So I'm put a pin on that one, I guess, for now, until I get more information. But just know that like having like a planet like that conjunct, one of the four royal stars is an amazing thing. Even though that description wasn't so amazing. So yeah, North Node over there, I talked about it before. In this lifetime, you're really meant to be really part of the greater whole. I said that before. Learning to learning the whole mind over matter mantra to transform your whatever your self preoccupations were like in past life into like a spiritual practice, into a spiritual unity. Like that's like the desire, is to really be one and really help humanity. And then the Aquarius, it's really, like I said before, a quest towards humankind. I had the same North Node as you, right? So it's like you might experience a struggle between your own personal needs and a sense of dedication to the others, and you might find that like when you're being like selfish or just like too like me oriented, that things don't work out. But when you're really doing things like to help other people, even if they it's like expressing your creative gifts, but in a way that helps others, it's very powerful. And yeah, like laying aside this like deep personal need for honor and prestige, and using your talents to like serve the world, excuse me, not save the world. Because like in past lives, being Leo South Node, which is extremely close to mine, there's definitely someone who's been honored, who kind of has that tendency to be like, I don't want to say like royalty, but kind of royalty, like kind of just like admired and maybe a star in some type of way. And it can be difficult for people who are used to that, who don't like karmically, who to not get it in this life, right? So it's like a lot of ego that has to be overcome. So I just see like a lot of really positive. I mean, okay, so Virgo. So okay, speaking of Mercury, so Mercury in Virgo, that's a very strong, and it works really well with the rest of your chart. Very analytical Mercury position, your mind, your communication. In Virgo, it's in dignity, meaning it works best in Virgo and in Gemini, so that makes you very intelligent. Wait, no, I'm crazy. You have Mercury in Taurus. I don't know why I saw it like that, but it's in the third house, so that makes you really excel in any form of communication. It is also a great signature for intelligence and quick wit, quick learning, talkative, studying a wide variety of subjects. And Mercury in Taurus, typically more hands-on the way you learn, methodical. Sometimes people with Mercury and Taurus can like be very traditional in their world learning, but I don't imagine that being the case for you. It's like slowly but surely learning style. Yeah, kind of like a grounded way of communicating too. So, and then Mercury with the aspects, it's very well aspected with the trine to the Neptune and Uranus. So that's going to connect your brain and your hermetic mind to these otherworldly forces, right? So when you meditate, you can get downloads. When you dream, you can get downloads. So it can be very like beneficial to like write those down and whatnot. But then you have opposite Pluto. So that's a really difficult one. Like sweating, it's getting hot in here. Get some AC on. So with that, I would just say, Pluto, when it opposes Mercury, it can create lots of disruption in terms of like, it can create like arguments, it can create like lots, like where you meet your like very, very like almost violent, like in their nature arguments, right? And you can really meet darkness, especially in other people, through like debates and clashes of the mind, per se, right? And it can feel like an internal struggle with thoughts and concepts and how to rationalize and then communicate them. And there's like a real intensity, right, of this deep psychological process, and you'll be seen by others as this very deep and complex person. And the great thing about this is that you don't take like news and ideas or opinions at face value. You want to really go and do all, like, you have a very inquiring mind. You really want to probe deep and understand everything, right? So yeah, it can lead. So you don't. Also, it can make someone who doesn't really like to be wrong and who gets really, really passionate about their like when they get into like a debate. And I already said the thing about watching out for being dogmatic, so it can cause relationship problems, right? Because like some people, being a Scorpio moon, that makes you like just really, really want to go deep with whatever you're studying, wherever you're interested in. Some other people won't have the same degree of seriousness or interest or intensity. And also it makes you like your whole chart is someone that does not like small talk. So that can also be a challenge with, like, especially like, I know what you do for a living now, so that's a perfect that you're doing that. It really is amazing for your entire chart, because that is literally giving back and helping your karma in so many ways. But it can be difficult if you were like in like a job like sales or something like that, right? So yeah, just like really, it's really important for you to find others who can relate to your depth of thinking, which is why you should message me about the thing I told you about. Yeah, it gives really, really strong opinions. So yeah, like maybe if like you have family members who like kind of have different worldviews as you, that's like where you have to like watch out, because the Aries and the Scorpio can sting. Remember that. You have an ability to really know kind of how to hurt people or like how to emotionally wound people. And with your Black Moon Lilith in Scorpio, I had the same placement. That doubles down on what I just said. When you're at your lowest, when you're hurt, when you're kind of in your shadow, like really, really coming from ego, you might say things that you regret later. Let's just leave it at that. So yeah. Okay. So I would say that you have an unaspected Mars, and I mean it aspects angles, doesn't aspect any actual planetary points. So that is creating an energy of someone who so this was interesting about your Mars, like it's unaspectedness in the 12th house. So you can really it can create lots of impulsivity. So you really have to like learn to check and balance yourself, right? And I don't see any personal planets in Earth, so like it's extremely important, actually, besides Mercury, but it's extremely important to learn balance and to look at any like self-undoing patterns that you have with action and in relationships too. Because when Mars is on aspect, it means it's unchecked. It means it can just go. It's not like held in checks and balances with other, like, kind of like, it's like a president that doesn't have the House or the Senate, just, or whatever country you're from. Like, it's just like like a monarch that can just make whatever decision it decides, and Mars is the planet of action, so it just boom, it just goes. So getting past that tendency is a key to your karma, with connecting to your North Node, which is the higher destiny part. Okay, so continuing. So more about love, you have Mercury, or excuse me, Juno, the planet of like what you look for like in a marriage partner in Scorpio. That basically is like you're looking for someone that you can. And Scorpio Moon also totally needs to be able to like 100% express their full self, like shadow, all that, whatever mood you're in around your partner. You'll want an intense and very sexual relationship also, and really demanding a lot of loyalty. Yeah. And then ninth house, you might be attracted to someone from different culture, but also like really wanting to exchange philosophical truths with your partner. I said that before, like how there has to be like a meeting of minds, and maybe traveling and exploring, the world together, and exploring different philosophies, stuff like that. Okay, talked about all this. I talked about all this. So yeah, like with the sun opposite Mercury, it's just kind of like, moon opposite Mercury, it's just kind of like your way of speaking can be at odds with your, like there can be a real like kind of like between your mind and your heart, there can be this real like kind of imbalance, right? Where you might feel things at that deep scorpionic level, but then and Scorpio is all about change, right? But then Mercury in the mind, it's less about change, right? So it's like you might not express and communicate the intensity of your, even though I said that your ascendant, it's having that nice aspect with your moon, there can still be some issues with communicating like your big transformations, right? Aside from that, what can I say about that aspect? Yeah, just the inner conflict between thoughts and feelings. Your emotions and instincts are often out of alignment with your rational thought. Your heart may say one thing, but your head says another, which can make someone overly analytical, kind of balancing heart and mind. And then, like over analytical one moment and then over emotional the next. So, yeah. And in the end, it can cause an inability to understand and express the true feelings, and it can distort the perception of reality and cause problems with judgment and decision making. And it can also make one have difficulty understanding the feelings of others. But by learning to blend your intuitive insight with your analytical intellect, that's like kind of the key. And this can, lead to better self-understanding, clearer self-expression, more direct communication. Also, just like keeping busy and productive helps with this too. So Jupiter in Cancer, that's just like another huge sign of a healer. Potentially someone who could have like expanded a lot through through their mother, the relationship with their mother potentially. And yeah, just like an energy of a healer, right? And it gives one like a strong like connection to their family and an urge to look after, like whether it's their loved ones, like whether it's like their family of origin or their people that they really love. And you know, it can give you like a really large family of your own, or this feeling that the world is your family. And like I said before, about the whole thing about children, and you really like the freedom to express your sense of creativity and fun in your own unique way. Okay, so Saturn in the 11th house. So I mentioned about friend groups. Well, you also, with Saturn there, actually one sec, I'm gonna talk. I need some shorts. I'm like sweating, but you can still hear me. So with Saturn where it's placed, you might be the kind of person, or you most likely are the kind of person, even with all the other placements, who is very choosy when it comes to friends. Like, you're not just gonna be friends with anyone, right? It's like you know, Saturn 11th house, and also because you just went through your Saturn turn, a lot of people that have this placement, they kind of have trouble finding their true tribe, I guess you could say. Their true, like yeah, I'm not saying that you don't have friends, of course. Like, you know, my friend Danielle, she has this also, and you know, she has friends, but like she's also very like, there's like lots of restrictions and stuff and karmic stuff that happens, and that's happened to her, like with friends, and she's kind of just realized it's way better to have like a few really good friends than a lot of kind of good ones, right? So but after, like, you know, the period of time now, a lot of that opens up. My brother has this too, and I think I've always like imagined that he's gonna, his social life and just like also like goals and stuff, it can kind of like delay like the long-term goals, but like once the Saturn turn comes, things like all the real goals open up a lot too. So yeah, it makes me kind of shy in groups also, but like it's, and really carefully select friends. But yeah, in the end, it's very, very, very good once you've found a group that you really align with, and friend group or group, whatever it is. Midheaven and Sag, that makes you like really want to like channel your higher truth and the philosophy that's such a big part of your karma and your life into your career. You'll really want to expand yourself. Through your career, you have a very enthusiastic approach to your career. And yeah, there can be some foreign element to your career and to your dharma. Not just career, it's like dharma. It's like, yeah. Okay. Some meowing over there. Third house, Mercury. If you have siblings, you might like have like very communicative relationships with them. You have to talk to them a lot if you have siblings. And also like Gemini in the fourth house cusp, you'll probably like really like to communicate, and even though like the small talk thing isn't your forte, like it could actually be like you really just like to communicate with your family, like your like family of origin, or like if you have kids, like a husband, stuff like that family. Okay, so moving forward. So part of fortune in you know, on the seventh house cusp, it's just like that's great for relationships. You have great joy through, you know, relationships, and it's really, really like lots of happiness comes. Kind of your flow state is when you're in relationships. And in Virgo, you achieve a lot of happiness and joy when your life is kind of like organized, and there's like this level of cleanliness and routine, at least some sort of routine. And also it goes back to the whole thing of service. For you, service equals joy. Vertex in Virgo, you might have to watch out for like being overly critical of partners. And you know, your doorway to higher awareness is through, you know, just like I guess I would say like not having like no, because I don't see many things that would indicate perfectionism in your chart, but just like it's another thing about service, right? The doorway to higher awareness is through service, and then also in the seventh house, it kind of emphasizes like this real one-to-one relationships being also this doorway to higher awareness, right? And I think of the vertex as kind of like a second ascendant, but like how you come off when you're in relationships. So when it's in Virgo, you can come off as like potentially like overly analytical, or but also very, very like consistent, and someone who's potentially, is very, very loyal, and who can be really dependent on, and who does like little actions to show their love, but also, yeah, that's just one aspect of it. Talked about this, talked about that. So I think that's pretty much most of everything. Let's check to see. Let's check to see that fixed star, see if there's anything going on. So yeah, we'll do the follow-up. Also, I highly, highly suggest doing a current astrology report. This is the the birth chart. You get this done once. Current astrology, I always advise people to get it done once each year. You can have like a transit that is happening, that like I just made a video about today, that literally like completely colors like your entire experience of a certain period of time. So like this is like the book of your life. That one is like more about the current chapter. So just something that I suggest, and that's a live reading. And I'd be happy to extend a further discount than I already have for that for you. Just remind me I said that. Okay, so looking at this right here. So, okay. See you 1 second. Hold on. Okay. Yeah, you have Deneb DJ conjunct Venus when trying to see how close it is. Yeah, so it's really close. It's within 0.12. So it says this point does not cause a health problem, but instead can be considered a gift. However, it is not always worked with in proper manner. The intuitive nature of these natives is refined, and they can be led to accomplish many divine purposes if the spiritual path is followed and they pay attention to their spirit guides. Wow. By following the direction of their spirit guides, they are led to great abundance and much happiness in their lives. Woo! So interesting. So you have that really close to your Venus. So once again, like allowing your spirit guides to guide you through whatever the creativity is in universal love, which is what you have the ability to really give that universal love, which is the Venus in Pisces. Okay. Also, Ceres in 5th house in Cancer. So, really just having the ability to really nurture others, and how that's closely linked with your relationships with your mother. And if you had a close and loving relationship with your mother, then you will have like similar ones in your adult life. And if not, you may form very dependent relationships. In the 5th house, the ways in which you look after yourself and others are very creative, artistic, and fun. So you kind of like nurture other people through your creativity and your sense of fun and playfulness. Let's see. So Moon, not much. So okay. Let's go to the next list. All right. I see that. So still nothing here. Okay. Batten Kaitos, what the fuck is this star? Let's see if I get anything about that. Okay, is it gonna say anything? Okay, so it gives compulsory transferation, change of immigration. Such, you see, these are just like really, really old. Like, these don't make any sense. So it's not a very important star, at least if I don't know about it, I'm not gonna talk about it. Okay, none of Mercury, blah, blah. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Actually, I need to go back really quickly and see if I saw anything on the MC. So yeah, your midheaven is really close to the galactic center also. So that can have spirituality really, really feature in your career. So yeah, that's it. Wow, I did this in a efficient way. You need to have every reading be around this long. But anyways, yeah, so thank you so much. Hope you enjoy. Very, very fun reading. I really enjoyed this. And yeah, give it, as many lessons as you need, and then message me and we can set the follow-up and go from there. All right. Ciao, ciao. Bye-bye. Thank you.